But if the police decide to issue me with a fixed penalty notice, I would, of course, do the right thing. And
yes, you listened it right. Keir Starmer Fair stunned the country with a live declaration that he might step down in case that's what the Open needs. Genuinely Keir, on the off chance that the man appears totally neglectful to the truth that the complete nation is essentially shouting for him to take off. There's indeed a appeal for a modern common race, picking up thousands of marks, each single diminutive.
Interesting thing, so a petition demanding an immediate general election has surpassed 1 million signatures amid mounting anger at Labour's budget tax rate. The petition, posted by a pub owner, complains that Keir Starmer has gone back on promises. Senior Tories hailed the huge numbers as an expression of anger that Labour...
And it's not fair. One request, there are a few making the rounds, all with the same neighborly message. Get out, mate. Retired people, agriculturists, understudies, laborers, fundamentally everybody has had enough, and accept me. This is often a full-blown national revolt, and our beautiful Kay must confront the truth that in fair 6 months he's overseen to chafe about each Brit out there.
The next general election, whether it should be sooner rather than later.
Yes, so...
Does the panel believe it's time for an election already, even though Labour's already done so many things?
Over 2 million marks have been accumulated on a request requesting a common decision. It's not fair a number. It's a thunder from the individuals who feel their voices have been overlooked for distant as well long, and what begun as a calm call for responsibility has snowballed into a full-blown development, shaking the establishments of Keir Sat's administration. But you might inquire, where did
tap into this level of dissatisfaction?
Not just people within the pub industry, just small businesses in general was extremely concerned about the way that the budget was rolled out, about the way he was lied to for him to get into power. And it was a bit of a collective, really, of opinions thinking, do you know what? Why should we skip?
So the petition's roots follow back to Michael Westwood, and standard bar proprietor with an exceptional cause, tired of observing his community battle beneath arrangements that appear to favor the tip-top. Whereas overlooking everybody else, Westwood took a stand. He created a basic supplication, a request for a government that tunes in, that conveys on its guarantees.
To get into power, why shouldn't you be held responsible? Why shouldn't you be able to account?
What he couldn't have expected was how rapidly his appeal would light the country inside. Weeks, it had crossed the 1 million signature stamp, and by presently it's multiplied that political examiners are calling it phenomenal, a uncommon minute, where open dissatisfaction interprets into collective activity nearly overnight.
Always want another election, and believe me, have we not seen that elections, let's think of the one in 2015, did that solve anything? The one in 2017, did that solve anything? The one in 2019, that produced a disastrous government, and now people are complaining about the one in...
The socioeconomics behind this appeal are similarly intriguing. It's not fair. The regular metropolitan center points. The heartlands, little towns, and indeed country communities have joined the objection. Agriculturists, retired people, little commerce proprietors, individuals from all strolls of life have energized behind this development districts that have customarily inclined, absent from politic IC activism, are presently driving the charge, signaling fair. How profound the discontent runs.
Signs of abating. In the last few weeks, the country's growth forecasts have been downgraded. Inflation has risen at the fastest rate for 2 years. And many of our largest retailers wrote to the Chancellor just last week warning that jobs would be lost as a result of the national insurance rises in that budget.
At its center, the appeal zeroes in on one central topic: selling out Starmer's government they contend has gone back on its word. Turning around key declaration commitments from rising taxes to surrendered approaches, the appeal paints a terrible picture of broken belief for numerous. It's not close to what's happened as of late. It's around a design of choices that feel disengaged from the battles of ordinary citizens when compared to past petitions in UK history. This one stands separated, not fair for its measure, but for the criticalness it passes on. And
under Keir Starmer, it's more unpopular now than it's ever been. He's the most unpopular Prime Minister that has ever lived. Elon Musk apparently is now more popular in this country than Keir Starmer is, according to a poll the other day. And everybody he's attacking is now looking at him and saying, why are you doing it? Why are you attacking farmers? Why are you attacking pensioners? Why are you attacking hard-working parents who want to send their kids to private school?
What's fueling this shock? Well, it's not one approach or one choice. It's an arrangement of activities that have cleared out. Millions feeling deserted take for occasion the legacy charge on rural arrive. On paper, it might appear like a reasonable way to target riches, but for family ranchers, it's a passing nail. These are individuals who have worked their arrive for eras, who don't see their ranches as resources to be burdened, but as a way of life. Presently, they're confronted with the terrible reality of offering their arrive fare to pay off charges for numerous. This is often a social misfortune, a disjoining of their legacy, and it doesn't halt there.
Of the winter fuel allowance for the vast majority of pensioners, unhappiness at the UK handing over control of the strategically important Chagos Islands, and of course the fallout from last month's budget is showing no signs of abating.
Another arrangement sparking outrage is the expulsion of winter fuel remittances for retired people in a fetched of living emergency where vitality bills are taking off and swelling is outpacing compensation. This choice feels nearly brutal. Retired people who have contributed to society for decades are being cleared out within the cold, truly. It's a disloyalty that strikes at the very heart of what individuals anticipate from their government care for the foremost defenseless.
I'm quite sure what we've got in store this week, but the assisted dying bill could do worse than put the Labour Party out of its misery, couldn't it?
Well, I mean, on the assisted dying bill, you know, the last thing we need is this government, which has already evidenced its incompetence, to be given the right to put people to...
The financial strain doesn't conclusion with agriculturists and retired people. Little businesses, as of now, battered by a challenging showcase, are buckling beneath the weight of rising charges for middle-class families. The crush is genuine, with family budgets extended more slender than ever. Fault finders have blamed the government of centering more on adjusting the books than on supporting the individuals who keep the economy running.
A YouGov poll out today that shows Labour apparently on course for a landslide bigger than 97. Are you home and dry?
My message to every single Labour Party member, every single MP, every single candidate is ignore that poll. We have to earn every vote, respect every vote, and we should always fight like we're 5%.
And whereas household approaches squeeze more tightly, there's the recognition, whether reasonable or not, that worldwide appropriations are getting more consideration than battling citizens at domestic to numerous. It feels like their needs are being sidelined, their voices suffocated out in favor of optics and outside associations. This combination of broken guarantees and conditioned hard of hearing arrangements has made a perfect storm. It's not almost the numbers on the appeal or the features within the news. It's almost genuine individuals feeling the weight of DC choices made distant, evacuated from their day-by-day lives.
They've proven themselves to be completely and utterly incompetent. I was talking to some people over the weekend about how bad they have been. I mean, I didn't think they would be this bad, and I say this every week, you know, that with every week that passes, I think to myself, surely they must have learnt something about the business of governance, but they don't seem to have. They don't seem to have anybody in the cabinet or in the government at all that knows what they...
But it's an alleviation. We got powerful individuals who can stand up for us, and one of them is none other than Jeremy Clarkson. His later studies of KD's government have taken his limit genuineness to an entire modern level.
Made far removed from their daily lives.
That the public have never really liked Sir Keir Starmer. And as the truth begins to emerge of what he's really like, I don't think they ever will. Rumours abound online of far worse to come. Either way, very few people will ever vote for this man again. If he's not careful, he'll be out by...
Known fundamentally as the previous B-Day quip, Clarkson has advanced into a persuasive advocate for provincial communities. On November 21st, 2024, he tended to a swarm of over 20,000 farmers accumulated in London to challenge Labour's disputable legacy assess on agrarian arrive. He labelled the charge a passing sentence for family ranches, caution that it would disassemble generational businesses that have been portion of Britain's social texture for centuries. Through his Amazon Prime appear, Clarkson's Cultivate, he has brought the battles of ranchers into standard awareness, making his Evaluate resound distant past the provincial statistic. His message is straightforward, however strong the government is out of touch, prioritizing outside appropriations, whereas dismissing the spine of the nation's nourishment supply. Clarkson's words have started searing wrangles about online with number spare our ranches, and number Starmer must go trending for days a short time later.
For the sake of everybody here, and for all the farmers who are stuck at home today, paralysed by a fog of despair over what's been foisted upon them. I beg of the government to be big, to accept that this was rushed through, it wasn't thought out.
As on the off chance that weren't sufficient to open up the hubbub, Elon Musk entered the discussion with a single tweet that sent shockwaves through the political scene. On November 24th, 2024, Musk shared a connect to the request for a modern decision with his 162 million adherents on X, once Twitter calling it a law-based minute that cannot be overlooked inside 24 hours. The appeal saw an amazing surge of 400,000 marks, cementing its put as one of the quickest developing open campaigns in UK history.
The changes that we've made, I say, the door is open and you can leave.
Musk's support too brought worldwide consideration with major outlets, just like the modern New York Times and Lehman covering the developing distress in Britain. Investigators have guessed on Musk's thought processes, recommending that his feedback stems from a common hate for government overextend. In any case, the swell impact of his tweet has been irrefutable, catapulting the request from a national issue to a worldwide exhibition.
Mistake.
Now, another storm is brewing. Sir Keir Starmer has been left bracing for a humiliating Commons debate after more than 700,000 people have signed a petition to hold yet another general election. Despite going to the polls 5 times in the last 10 years, hundreds of thousands want another election after a petition was launched accusing the Prime Minister of reversing on his manifesto.
Chris Clarkson and Musk are distant from the as-it-were voices, including fuel to the fire. Nigel Farage, the polarizing previous pioneer of the Brexit Party, hasn't held back in his studies either. Amid a GB News fragment, he portrayed Starmer's arrangements as anti-British and blamed the government of rebuffing hardworking citizens. Indeed, Emma Thompson ordinarily adjusted with dynamic legislative issues, freely censured the evacuation of winter fuel remittances, calling it an indefensible selling out of pensioners' organizations.
Calling for a general election on the basis that Labour have broken promises and done things they never ever said they'd do. Its kind of trust is breaking down, but unbelievably, it's already on 750,000 signatures. Even Elon Musk has been talking about it. I've never seen a petition go this quickly. Let me ask you, do you think there should be a general election?
Just like the Farmland Union and the National Agriculturists Union have inclined up their activism organizing rallies and media campaigns that have kept open dissatisfaction decisively within the highlight, the result has been an idealized storm of celebrity grassroots activism and organizational backing, all focalizing to request responsibility from the government.
Clarkson has pushed back against calls for him to become more involved in politics. The former Top Gear presenter helped organise the mass agricultural protest in London on Tuesday, calling for the government to rethink their inheritance tax changes. But Clarkson now says that he'd be a terrible political leader. Speaking to The Times, Clarkson...
Past words and tweets, the outrage has spilled into the lanes. Over the past month, cities over the UK have ended up hotbeds of dissent. On November 25th, an evaluated 250,000 individuals walked through central London in what has been portrayed as one of the biggest exhibits within the past decade. The sheer differing qualities of these dissents is striking. Agriculturists walked nearby, retired people, understudies, carried signs with trademarks like no ranchers, no nourishment, and little commerce proprietors joined the broil, voicing their dissatisfaction over rising charges.
The reason Rachel Reeves says she brought this in is to stop wealthy people using it as a way
No,
of
that was the only reason she did.
Well, no, the other reason was to raise money for public services. Well, have you seen...
Are you listening to this?
Have you tried to get a GP appointment lately?
Yes, I just recently had a heart attack.
400,000 signatures, cementing its place as one of the fastest growing public campaigns in UK history.
Turned open, contradicted to a relentless constraint, whereas the ultimate outcome remains dubious. The force is irrefutable, and the breaks in ST's government are getting to be progressively troublesome to disregard.